Yo,
What's popping?
what's going on?
What's going on? Okay. A no budget podcast.
That's what it is.
All right. A no budget podcast featuring myself, Made.
And the young man Omenihu.
Yes. Both creative artists, musicians, multifaceted expressionist.
You know, expressionist is a crazy term because I only know that from painting.
Oh, right?
Yeah, but to refer to yourself as an expressionist, it's like, yo, I express.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly. I didn't even know it was like a real sort of term, I guess.
and maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm thinking of impressionist.
Impressionist, okay.
But fuck it, we're expressionists.
We are expressionists, yes.
And it's crazy that we're finally doing this because there's so many crazy fire conversations we left just on the cutting room floor.
Not anymore though, man. Not anymore. Now we gonna lock in and actually, give this shit to the people, man.
Yeah, and we have to because, bro, music doesn't pay enough to not.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about it, man. Let's get right into it, man. Man, you sent me that video earlier this week, YouTube video. Damn, I guess I should pull it up and see what it's called. But man, it set me on fire because
the one with all the rock stars and
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. So musicians warning fans about the music industry. And I think more musicians need to. Because consumers need to know that this is so I'm not trying to say anything that's triggering, you know what I mean? Aside from physical slavery, you know what I mean? Like it is
slavery is a choice.
Exactly. Aside from that, let's just I'm gonna just say it 10 more times. Slavery, all the way up to 10. There's no way to neutralize the weight of that phrase or that, what that is. Like, I'm not saying that's what it is, but when you look at it, it's like, man, like they are riding the backs of artists.
Bro.
This industry is just riding the backs of artists. And in a very similar way, I was thinking about it. It's like, man, like in a time where free labor was the norm, the people who are consuming and the people who are benefiting off of it don't necessarily think like, oh, you know what? Like, these are human beings. You know what I mean? Like, these are people who deserve what I have access to as well. So you only think about the fact that like, oh yeah, I could stream 1 million artists at one time if I want to, or, I get all of my music for free unless I'm ready to pay them in merch or whatever the fuck. Right. But it's like, it's off of somebody's hard-earned labor and life sacrifices that, you and I are very familiar with.
Facts. You know what the funkiest thing about it all is, like, obviously the artist, the vendor, the contract worker keeps the lights on at corporate.
Mm-hmm.
So all the motherfuckers who are driving Uber is keeping Uber.
Yep.
And when we're mad about something, like you get picked up, maybe the guy was late, maybe the guy was doing a U-turn, blah, 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 and you're late to where you're going, you're mad at the person. Driver. You're mad at the driver. And that's the craziest thing, that corporate has made our relationship peer-to-peer, and like we're mad at the artists, we're mad at the drivers. But the reason why the driver was late is because maybe the GPS has sent him across the city to drop this one person off.
Yep.
And then that person's like, yo, could you take me to blah, blah, blah? And like, no, I can't because the system, blah, blah, blah. And he's in a rat wheel and a hamster wheel. And he obviously, it breaks down at some point and he gets to your place late. Artists, let's say they say something crazy on stage.
Mm-hmm.
How many stages has that dude or woman been on in a week? How many cities has this person seen just to get their money?
Straight up.
Bro, when you work at corporate, you don't need to go from city to city to get your paycheck.
Nah, you don't. That's a fact. You just, I feel like the thing is, like you said, we garner so much of that expectation and I guess sort of like disputes, even just on the rise being an up and coming artist, people are always just like, well, why don't you just do this? Or it's like, you never put out music anymore. Like the people who think that they're supporting you, which they are, I guess, as far as like, being a moral support or trying to help.
Definitely moral.
But they don't understand, like you said, like there are steps and levels to be able to, to express yourself as an artist. And,
Thanks.
One of the things that I'm really tired of, and I like what you said, where it's just like, you don't have to go into all of these different places to get your money. I think for myself, I had to realize just yesterday after watching this video, I was like, yo, I am a musician. There are people or more entities than people making money off of music. And when I think about all the other things, like going back to what you said about collecting your money from different places, like you got to be in different cities, different, whatever. I think one of the major things that I'm trying to distance myself from is thinking that in order to make money off of my music, I have to sell merch. That's the only thing that people are willing to pay for right now in music is fucking merch and subscription.
You like, yo, I had to turn into Pac, son. Like,
I was about to say, like, I did not get in this shit, bro. Before I started doing music for real, I was trying to do fashion. I realized how much it is to upkeep and maintain
the
that
levels
shit, the
to
production.
it just to break even.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to do that as I'm like, yo, I already invest into making music. I should be able to make money off of my music. Like when Chance said, oh, like I believe music should be free, I just did not understand that shit. Cause I'm like, bro, how do we get paid if it's gonna be free?
And I feel like shout out to Chance and Pat, that whole era. I think he did people the disservice by like telling the consumer, I'm independent and you could just do it like me.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is, he just left out the details of it.
He left out all the devils in the details.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because you can still be the owner, but have investors. And I think the fact that he said he was independent just led people to think that he was doing it all on his own without any financial backing. So these things were sort of just happening.
And what it really should have been, hey, you don't need label, because the label is an investor with a lot of connections.
Yeah.
He said, yo, I have an investor without the connections yet, but we're going to get them and we're going to thug through it. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of those situations since being in LA where people have maybe an inexperienced investor whose expectations is X, and like maybe they're going through it. But I've seen the fruits of that labor, and I'm like, yo, there's a difference between getting it out the mud, and the mud being like, yo, you and your shitty Mac and your music theory knowledge or your music experience, and you like making the best music, versus, hey, I'm an independent artist, but I have this millionaire who wants to help me get this going. I can now act like my own label now.
Yeah, but imagine if music was for sale the way that it should be, imagine how many more investors we would be able to get. It's so hard. Like, bro, I've gone several different routes of trying to figure out, I put it on business plans, all of that shit, bro. Like, and knowing who I could go to be able to, source the money that it takes to build up and start to generate money with my music. And the fact that it goes into so many different realms except for my music is kind of crazy. Like, there's no point. At that point, consumers need to know there's no point of me putting out an album if it never sells. It's more beneficial for me to put out a brand and a front to say, oh, okay, I got this song. It's 15 seconds long. It's on TikTok. It's killing it. People love me. And I sell a shirt with my name on it. And this is my profit margin. You know what I mean? It's just like,
you know what was crazy? I saw a tweet that said, yo, these TikTok songs be going so hard in the first 15 seconds. And then when you go to the whole thing, you're like
that shit is trash after that.
And that's called advertising.
Yep.
It's just like movies. Movies show you
making jingles, bro. For real.
No, I'm just talking Jamie Foxx.
They're not making singles. They making jingles, bro. Straight up.
Woo.
Jingles 2000. You talking about the Jamie Foxx?
And that's the thing. It's like I was having this conversation randomly with basically I'm a Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, rarely offer up. I'm always looking for deals, and I ran into a woman who was selling a massage gun, got it for super cheap, and it turns out she was a music manager. And we're having all these conversations about how the industry has changed, me as an independent artist, her as a manager, and just a big appreciator of music. And she's like, yeah, like artists didn't sign up to be a TikTok sensation. And it's like, yo, you being a musician is not even half the battle anymore. You got to be a fire ass social media manager. Bro, I can go on Indeed right now and be like, yo, I can make your social media crazy. But that's not what I wanted to be my biggest takeaway for my music career so far.
Bro, it is down to the definition of like being a sellout. Like you have to, because like being a sellout is not as negative as it sounds. We use it more negatively than it actually means. Like to be a sellout is to just sell outside of your market. So if you're a musician and like Dr. Dre would be a sellout because he went and transitioned to music and then went into tech and with beats. And it's not a bad thing at all. But you should be able to transition more smoothly than to be like, yo, like right now to be a musician, like you said, you have to sell outside of what you actually produce. Because like you said, like all these other skills and hats you got to wear, like marketing, social media, all of that shit, man. It's like just
fashion designer,
just, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody that you go to is getting paid more than you. Like engineers got to chill too.
I'm gonna stop you at the engineer part because engineers get dicked around too, but us as independent artists, we just see them as a bill collector.
That's it. But man, so all right, look. My thing with engineers is this, right? I fuck with engineers, bro, I really do. But these prices out the gate mixed with the percentage is like is tough, especially if you're not in the streets, like pushing this product with me. As far as the music goes, to clarify, it's like, bro, you did help make the product, but if I pay you, especially the prices that they ask for, like some engineers would charge $500 to $700 for a song.
Yeah,
if I pay you that, we're done here.
Like, I'm wiping my hands clean. You get no percentage. So this is going back to a song is what I didn't realize until coming to LA. A song is a business endeavor. Each song,
right?
All your collaborators are fighting for percentages of this song. It is a business. It is a product from businesses that you just created to give to people. Mm-hmm. But it is weird that there's people a part of this now new business or this new product who have royalties to it, but don't push it.
That is what I'm saying.
And don't treat it like theirs.
Okay, so I want to know your opinion on something, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, say like I got Made EP, right? And it's on streaming platforms, right? Yeah. Music isn't right now primarily for sale. But if I decide to sell that project, especially the physical version of it, to me, I look at everything that went into creating the physical and putting it on sale. And granted, the music, you know what I mean? The music is what it is because of the people involved.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Especially the engineer. But I look at that, like, especially in this time, and this might be bogus, but it's like, bro, like we gotta get ours too. I'm like, yo, like, is there anything that I can do without somebody getting a percentage of it? Because I never got 500 up front for a song the way an engineer did. It never happened for me.
This man is taking a war. No, so this feels like I had a homie. He was a part of this group called Hurricane Hooli. And they had a big issue with bouncers.
Okay.
And bouncers because they were always the youngest kids in the club or in the venue because they were performing. And they would always get sunned by bouncers. And he was like, yo, when I'm 21, I'm just gonna like shit on someone's shoe when I'm like, here's my ID. And I was always wondering, like, why is he so pressed? But when you're not 21, your biggest opposition is the bouncer. Not the legislator, not the club owner, it's the bouncers. That is the Uber driver. As an independent artist, your biggest enemy are all the people who's helping you but taxing you along the way, who kind of end up not really having any skin in your game. But really, we should be pissed at the infrastructure that preceded us. We should be mad about the legislation, the legislators, the gatekeepers. But right now, our biggest opposition is the producers who say they love our music, but like, yo, my rate is $1,200. I'm like, let me do an ROI on this. I don't know.
Right.
I don't.
Straight up, it's like, how could you, like, bro? What people have to understand when it comes to producers, when it comes to engineers, and when it comes to even videographers, right? If I pay you $1,200 to shoot me this video, and I know how many streams that is on YouTube, I'm basically putting $1,200 into, I'll fairly say it's marketing and promotion, because those things, like, you don't get return in money that is calculable. It's all about how many people you reach with that to advertise what it is that you want people to go do. So if it's like, all right, I want you to go, stream this song, which is what we would say today. If it would sell this song, it would be different.
And you'd most likely, you could get your money back.
You could, but it's like, the way I'm looking at it going into it, it's like, yo, I'm giving you $1,200. I'm already
rent.
For real. I'm already like, I'm starting off underneath the game. So my posture, even in sharing the shit, is gonna be different. Like, I'm gonna be like, yo, like, I need to get this work off right now.
He said, I got some kids to feed.
Straight up, like, I'm in the hole.
Yeah.
I'm in the hole as soon as
I'm in the hole.
For real. Like, I gotta watch that shit. I gotta calculate for the fact that I am under going into the game.
But on the flip side, most, like, not every videographer, but the ones who are quality deserve that $1,200.
No, I'm not saying that.
And that's what I'm trying to make it clear. Like, everyone deserves the price that they get, that they negotiate, that they fight for. And obviously that's capitalism, and I'm not going to go down the whole capitalism the problem. No, at the end of the day, us as people are the problem. And I feel like
I think it's consumers.
Yeah, so I think we need to get to the point where we're training consumers. Maybe we're showing the consumer, hey, the song you just heard took this, took that, took the same way when they break down the Big Mac with the calories and the bread.
Straight up.
We need to educate our consumers, like, yo, the song I mixed and mastered myself. What that actually means in layman's term, instead of paying $600, $700, I did it myself. I kept it in-house. I did all these things to avoid X amount of expenses.
Yeah.
Please buy my music.
Yeah. I really like what you said about, like, adding, like, the like the caloric information.
Bro.
Because, like, it's so true. Like, a lot of the time I put that stuff on all of my work in the credits, and I think people will think that I'm just trying to put my dick on the table and be like, yo, like, I did all of this. I'm like on some yay shit. You see all of this? And it's like, yeah, but what I also want people to know is, like, yo, like, there are hours and blood, sweat, and tears compromised that goes into this. Y'all should definitely, at very least, it's like, man, like, you do all that, you want somebody to check it out. But, like, man, at the end of the day, when I look at it, there's no reason why I know how to do what I do and I can't get paid off of it, but somebody else can. Like a record label could come and they could pay me and know exactly how they gonna get money off of it, because straight up, like, because like I'll be sitting there getting my 0.0006 from Spotify, Apple, and they'll be getting the bigger end of the pie, and they'll be like, see, this makes sense, don't it?
So, the question, no one talks about how much a record label gets per stream.
That's because it's unknown information for a reason.
Yeah.
Because Spotify, I don't even think Spotify itself is generating as much as we think that it can't be. Because if look at it's like you said with the Uber thing, right?
Yep.
If Uber drivers stop driving, Uber stops making money. If all of those artists that are on
uploading,
and if they even got to negotiate and say, all right, to stream my music for free on these streaming, because like the crazy thing is Spotify has a free
has a freemium,
you know what I mean?
And
so someone got the bag up front for that shit, and the artist had no say in it because they don't have enough ownership over their
even their own music.
Over their own music. So they had to cut a deal with record labels, and they got whatever lump sum happened with that, the bag that, you know what I mean, like the Chance the Rapper 3 bag, the coloring book
He's
bag.
like, yo, I only got $500K for it, and I spent that on the ad. Like that ad everyone saw, bro.
Bro, people gotta realize that is one project. How are they getting entire catalogs, bro? Entire catalogs of music, and they're only paying the artist that percentage. Like, do the math. Yeah. The record labels are getting a much larger percentage. Streaming, I keep saying, I'm gonna say this on the hilltop, bro. Streaming is the new radio. You look at the decimal percentage that the artists are getting. It's very similar to that of radio. The access that consumers have to music, quote unquote, for free, very similar to radio.
Thanks.
So it's like, if we can correlate those two things and we say, all right, at least in that time, there was a way for artists to get paid. It was CDs. So that was the advertisement platform.
And even the problem with CDs is like people got paid percentages, the mechanical royalties of the CD.
Yeah, because it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where I was like, yo, if I make this product of a CD, a physical, to me, I'm looking at that like it's merch. Back in the day, they weren't giving artists the lion's share of CDs because it was mainly material. Well, and then there was the content on the CD.
Facts.
So if I'm doing the production and the distribution, yes, I'm gonna probably take majority of what that product is, because without me, you can't get it out there.
Facts.
Today, it's a different situation because we can put our music out there digitally with no cost of production.
You know, the video that I sent you, the guy was like, yo, there's people in people's contract, they're still getting charged mechanical royalties for just sending it through a CD, baby.
Right. It's fucking crazy.
So if you're listening to this podcast, of course you are. So you make music, you make a song, you mix and master it. And then you go through, what's it called? A
DSP.
You go to a DSP to upload your item, your song. So a popular one for independent people is TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid,
United Masters.
And then the more hipster and the more, I would say, the more elevated ones are like STEM, AWOL, where they have artists that they know are have bigger platforms. So you go through them, whether you pay a yearly fee to upload as many songs as you want, or United Masters has an option where they take some of your royalties of some of the money from the streams, and they'll do it for free. So you go through that door to get your music on everywhere, like Amazon, YouTube, and Spotify.
Sounds like the new record label, doesn't it?
It just sounds like a new gatekeeper, bro. It's like the fact that I can't automatically upload to Spotify like we did with SoundCloud is always weird to me. But like, I get it. Like, you don't want someone taking a Drake song and uploading it for themselves, but people do, and it doesn't get flagged right away. So
I just think this is like during this time of consuming music, this is an opportunity for everybody, and I feel like this is like an artist rights movement, especially in music. Like, there's a lot of shit just in the physical art world that's just like, it's bullshit when you think about like how somebody can get paid for a piece and then it goes in auctions for all this money and the artist sees none of it. It's like being aware of shit like that in the music industry. It's like people have to be aware of the fact that like, yo, like you are coming for one. All right. People got to be aware of the amount that they're supporting the artist that they claim to love and what is actually going into their pocket, period.
So
they have to know that.
Going back to the Uber driver, let's say you Uber from your crib to my crib. Yeah. They charge you $20. All you see is $20.
Facts.
You're like, damn. But there's no part of the receipt that says Uber got this,
yes,
driver got that.
And that is the thing about man, I love that example so much because it's so synonymous with the music industry and I'm familiar with both because I'm doing one and I've done the other.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember when I used to do Uber Eats and there would be, and I witnessed being an Uber Eats driver and an Uber Eats consumer. And I would see how much I was getting paid for each delivery and I'd be like, damn, like nobody's tipping me. And then I would go and place the order and I'd be like, oh, there's this delivery fee. And I'm like, I ain't never got paid that much on the delivery fee. So like the delivery fee is there. And you think,
like, I've already paid you.
They thinking they already tipping me, but they not. And it's so crazy because it's the same thing with streaming services. It's like, man, like I got all this music. I could go on YouTube and get this shit for free. All right, I'm gonna pay Spotify $9.99. That's going to the artist, right? If only you knew. Like I said, when I posted that, bro, I posted my streaming numbers and I was disgusted. You know what I mean? Like I got $5 for work that took me over 2 years to complete, and it was out for like 3 months performing. And that made me want to take my shit off of streaming platforms because it was like, yo, like if Spotify gets all of that money and they only want to pay me $5 for whatever streams I had, it don't even matter. It's like, man, somebody could give me $5. They would be doing better than Spotify and supporting me now.
That's
easily.
So, and once again, it's not like attacking Spotify because as artists, we need them. One, because
we don't need them.
So, okay, this is why I'll say we need them. And we were kind of having this conversation. It's because it's the social capital that comes with being successful on that platform. People treat you differently.
Okay.
And that's just the way it is. And so people will think you're a more seasoned artist because you have numbers on that platform because that platform shows numbers.
Right.
So,
but the thing is here, and I was even conflicted with this earlier. I want you to complete that thought too. But what I was conflicted with was, I remember when I first joined Spotify and I thought it was ill when I saw the numbers there. But for new artists, when you put up a song and they put that less than 1,000 there, like Spotify need to fucking check themselves, bro. You can't do that shit to somebody. And no other streaming platform says the numbers of an up and coming artist. It's just there. You know, if I'm paying the DSP, I'm paying to be on the same shelf as everybody else. Now, if you want to pick up my shit or pick up fucking Jay-Z's shit because you know what that looks like, but you ain't seen me, that's one thing. But I'm paying to be on the same shelf and the same as everybody else. So when you put, he's got these tracks that he dropped as 5 tracks and they're all minus under 1,000. Who's buying that? Who the fuck?
What if they put a sticker on your CD at Target said no one's buying this shit?
Facts. Straight up.
Hey, no one's fucking with this.
You know what I'm saying? Like your CD comes out, it goes straight to clearance type shit, bro. It's like, yo.
Go straight to DVD.
For real. Like, bro, like they gotta chill. I feel like things like this, when they say that they care about artists, which I mean, I respect the platform, it's cool. But there's so much work to be done as far as really seeing eye to eye with up and coming independent artists.
But at the end of the day, we don't keep those lights on. And
we don't?
No, we don't keep. So as independent artists, we're not the ones keep. And this is when you're saying, oh, we pay to be on those shelves. Hey, when Drake drops,
they paid more to be on them shows. I get it.
Bro, I remember I think Scorpion dropped and they had Drake on the gospel playlist.
And I get it. And I feel like I feel like this, bro. It's like it started off with the right intention, especially with playlisting.
Everything starts off with the right.
You know what I mean? Corporate gets into it. They start throwing that corporate bag at it the same way that they did radio payola and all that shit. It's like, bro, them niggas will find out how to
bastardize it.
You know what I mean? And how to own up all of that real estate. So,
it's just like crypto. Crypto is built off of a concept of decentralizing it. Like, it's something that it's not meant for any one person to have a majority of.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, human nature, it's like, yo, we're gonna build a super buildings with servers to try to mine more crypto than you, so we can have all the Dragon Balls.
Right.
And it's like, no, the thing is, Dragon Balls spread across the planet so that people can't have them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in our nature to consolidate everything, to take all the Infinity Stones.
Yep. It's scarcity. It's because even though in this market we created something that is decentralized, I go home and I need more all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I need more to pay the rent. You know what I mean? I need more to, support like just all the things that make us scared and want to go after things that breed greed and jealousy type shit. So, but yeah, like I think the biggest thing is, where do we go moving forward while being aware of these things? Because I think the first thing, like us talking about this is great because it's putting out the awareness of it.
Yep.
But it's like, how do we fix the problem? And the first thing I'm gonna throw out there, you mentioned Drake, right? Bro, we are in the early stages of independent artistry. At a certain point, yes, Spotify is going to need us because the more of us that know not to take the label route and actually execute on that, the more of us can hold out and say, like, I know the way I'm thinking about it. It's like, bro, if I get to a certain point, I'm not putting all of my catalog on Spotify. You got to pay me for my album, Spotify. Give me that $250K. Straight up. Like, give me that and then we could go up.
Yeah, so the thing about it is, like, Netflix pays licensing fees to have a movie on Netflix. It's a subscription service, and they paid like Dave Chappelle to make content specials to be on their platform exclusively. And you think about music, we pay to upload.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, all these platforms, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, they're paying people to make podcasts. You're like, wait. Imagine going to a library and being like, your book gets free rented, but we're about to pay this other author to let us rent their books out. Yeah. You're like, wait, how do I get in that line?
Straight up.
Because basically, the line I'm in, the refugee line that I'm in, is pro bono until further notice. And then there's that other line like Joe Rogan or everybody who does a sports podcast. They're getting paid.
Bruh, straight up. Like, that shit, bro. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody who got the podcast bag. It's not out of any hatred. But it's like, first Spotify, Apple Music. It's called Apple Music. You know what I mean? Like, how they getting paid more than the artist off rip?
The artist who built the platform.
Built the platform for there to be an audience for your podcast.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things to the people who are listening, it's like, yeah, like we definitely have taken this time to kind of lift the curtains behind indirectly our own paths and the frustrations and the pain points, but also like me and you and many of our friends, we just got to go harder because there is a part of the Matrix that we have to play. So like for Neo to really be Neo, he had to plug in.
Mm-hmm.
He had to be in the Matrix to be Neo.
Right.
Up until the end where he like shows like, oh, like I can use some of this ability outside. He had to jump in the Matrix to show that he's above it. So I think if we are who we think we are, we have to beat the game, like landslide, like blowout, like we're up by 20 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think part of that is, decentralizing, like finding all the PowerPoints. Like I feel like this era did a really great job of saying like, yo, like the studio, we love the studio, but
studio's a vibe.
You know what I mean? But the studio prices are not going to stop me from investing in myself and making my music anyways.
Facts.
So that took the power out to say, all right, you got to meet us with something. Like that's where like the studio has to expand. And on other episodes, we'll talk about like all these other ideas of where industries could go, because it's not like there's things about the studio or engineering or I'm not even gonna put engineering in there because engineers are invaluable and I don't want to shit on no engineers. I need engineers, you know what I mean? We just gotta come to a new agreement. But what I'll say is like even like the music industry is like, man, like
it's archaic.
It is archaic and needs to evolve to what's happening right now. So I think us figuring out ways to do it on our own as artists, like you said, we got to go extra hard. So you go into the Matrix, you plug in, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Now I could do all this shit from my crib. Oh, okay, cool. Now I could press a button on my phone and this could go up and out to people. The next step, I feel like, is conditioning your audience to know how to support you best. Yep. Because if we do that, then we don't need Spotify. We don't need Apple Music. We can use them because I still fuck with them. That's not the case. I still fuck with them. You just got to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like for them to be talking to labels, but they're not talking to independent artists is a slight, if you ask me. It's a super slight because, I wouldn't mind having that conversation with the streaming platform to say, yo, like, we want the exclusive rights to this the same way that everything is everywhere right now, but the same way that there's things that are on Hulu, that aren't on Netflix, they might so happen to be on both, but those things, like you said, come with a licensing fee. And I think that until we have leverage to say like, nah, I don't really need to be on streaming platforms because in the last 3 months, I only made $5 off of advertising my music there. But it don't even got to be much more. If I made $20 off of my project from selling it on my website, which is very possible, and I can show, you don't got to be a web designer to have a marketplace. If I'm making $20, I'm already making 4 times the amount of what I make on streaming platforms. 4 times. If you make double or something, you be happy, but 4 times is like, damn, like you should probably take a different route.
Yeah, it's
but
like
if exposure is the goal, then you aim at the platforms.
So this is the thing. We're in a time where people would rather have the fame and exposure than the actual money and connection with fans that they're actually vying for. This is the crazy thing. As a musician, you're not making music to be on the radio, to meet the program director, to meet this guy, this A&R, this, that, and the third. You just want your music to be heard by people who want to hear it.
Yep.
But only musicians think, okay, for me to go from point A to point B, I gotta download the Uber app. I need to sign in. I need to get my stuff verified. At some point, someone who has a car who wants to drive people around needs to just be like, yo, this is my service. And I don't know the legality of just picking up people, but if you're just picking up people yourself, you're cutting out all the middlemen.
And that was an industry. People can't forget, and it still is an industry in certain places like New York. You know what I mean? Like people got, driving around vans being the bus in Queens. That's
wow,
happening.
I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
You know what I mean? That has happened. I don't know if it's still happening, but that has happened.
I know the taxi industry was pissed.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, once you figure it out, once you have that idea, you're like, oh wait, like I'm gonna do this shit, and I'm gonna take the lion's share of it, and I'm going to pay off the expenses that come with this, and I'm going to use my network to capitalize off of it. You know what I mean? I'm going to put it into my community. That's the thing. Like, it's just a different mentality when you're aiming at the masses, bro.
Yeah, man.
And being a musician, like, your favorite thing to think about, especially when you're starting, is like, damn, like, I can't wait till people fuck with me. I can't wait till people know who I am, and they, you know what I mean? My name is next to, X amount of million streams, and everybody knows who I am. It's just like, nah, like, posture the people who fuck with you
already
to support you, and each one fucking teach one. Because if that can be the norm, we no longer need to, like, bro, could you imagine if you could capitalize off of, and I hate the word capitalize, but just the general, you could capitalize off of 1,000 people that fucked with you, like however many. Like, fuck it. Like, if we talking about platform and we're like, oh, I want to use Spotify for the numbers so my music can get out there. It's like, man, how many people you got on Instagram? How many people you got on Twitter or YouTube or whatever? Use those platforms of you. You know what I mean? Always have a net to capture those people for
emailing list.
Period. You know what I mean? Always have your own, like, bro, my
numbers in your phone.
Straight up. Always have your own, and never forget that these niggas who have these corporations are doing the same thing that you should be doing, and that's their service to you.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you can't capture your own followers is the reason why you on Instagram fiending right now.
Facts.
It's the reason why, because you're like, yo, I don't have I don't know how to convert on, oh, I met you out.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta know, you gotta learn these things for yourself, and you're not gonna be Instagram right away. But when Instagram is the past, who will you have?
Facts. And you have to have you. You have to have your fans. You have to have your support system. You have to have your team. And at the end of the day, like when Instagram went out for like that day after that whole leak thing,
man,
and they said, "Yo, turned off the servers," people were like, "Wait, I was twerking here." Like what? like whenever the electricity goes off and you're in the shower, that's what happened. And for me, yeah, it hit me too. Like I was like checking it, like, cause I'm like, yo, like I be DMing people this and that, but it's like you got to have your water raft whenever the Titanic sinks.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have your life jacket when the Titanic sinks. But most of us have been so dependent on the Matrix that we don't know what it feels like to be free from it. And we don't have the entrepreneurial muscle memory anymore to be like, yo, when I don't have my phone, I'm still hustling.
Mm-hmm.
When I know no one's tweeting me, I'm still hustling. I'm still fighting for myself, because at the end of the day, all the people we look up to fought for themselves infinitely.
Yep.
And like my biggest examples is like Childish Gambino. They were like, yo, like you're a writer on Community. What are you doing? You want to rap? And he was like, yeah. And it's like, why? And he started rapping. He leveraged that into his FX deal that he was sitting on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Leveraged his obsession with Disney and all the things they've ended up buying up. Became Lando. Became a character in Spider-Man. Bro, off of pivoting from Community to rapping.
Yep.
And then his producer was the dude that he worked with at Community.
That is how you do it.
Yeah, you got to.
That's, if you just watch the roles that Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, was in at the beginning of his career versus where it's at now, like he just worked his way to the front so strategically, but he always had his own. You didn't always notice it. Like it was very niche at first, like, oh, like if you know, you know. But right now it makes a whole lot of fucking sense because he's killing it.
Yeah, and when he's not visible, like obviously his peak visibility, this is America, off of a video and a song, it breaks the internet. And then he's like, yo, I'm still breaking your neck. I'm on tour. I'm in movies. Like, bro, that's the type of shit.
Yeah, new technologies.
That's the type of shit. And Adidas, the shoes, that makes you, once again, decentralized. You're not dependent on one platform.
Yep.
And you're not dependent on people that don't owe you anything. So, like, obviously not all of us are Childish Gambino, and obviously he's once in a generation, but you got to take these lessons that have been placed before you and make your own formula. Like, even you and I, we have different formulas because we started in different places. We got to this point, different routes, but like, I'm taking pages out of your book and you're taking pages out of my book. Facts. To make it work, because at the end of the day, we got to do what's sustainable for us. Maybe 100 fans is what's sustainable for somebody. Maybe somebody else is like, I can sustain 10,000, but you got to do what's sustainable so that you're not gonna end up in a fucking shitty situation down the line where you regret this whole passion that you had since you were a fucking kid.
Yep.
So I think one of the biggest things is, even this podcast like, I'm glad we went on that walk because we're hot.
Right.
It's us not having a budget is not us bitching. It's us celebrating, look what we can do without exterior help.
Straight up.
And like, we're always going to get help. Like Danny, y'all see him, like he does everything, the visuals, all that. He's always a helping hand. But once again, we got it out the mud with him, and we're going to have guests, we're going to have friends who are helping, but we're not walking around like Oliver Twist, like, more, please.
Straight up.
Nah, bro. Like, we got everything we need.
We got everything we need, man. If you got to think, if Prince had what we had, bro, and knew what we know, what we had to learn, like, for real, like, man, we got to take this shit seriously. It's like, man, people really put their life on the line for this shit,
People
bro.
died.
Straight up.
If Prince had all of the stuff we had, plus his obviously infinite musical talent, he wouldn't be Prince, he'd be king.
Facts. Straight up though. That's the bar of the whole show. Straight up. For real, man. So it's like, man, take that shit seriously, man. Like when oh shit, camera overheating. When okay, calm down. All right, cool. When
said wrap it up, nigga.
Yeah, straight up. Nah, they listening. Feds is listening. Nah, but nah, man, it's like when Jay-Z was just like, y'all niggas still signing deals for real after they done what they did to Lauryn Hill. It's like, bro.
It's like shut up, Jay-Z. You know that pisses me off because he'll sign niggas to deals in 05. Fuck you.
Straight up. Yep, straight up. But it's like, man, you know, you got to take it the way that you hear it, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, take the parts that work for you and take them seriously and make the strides that you need to make, man, because, man, this shit is very much so in our hands. And if we can, you know what I mean? Like, we should be able to profit off of it. I'm going to say it again, man. Like, I'm a musician. I shouldn't be thinking about different ways to service the way that I am. My product is music. Yes, I did put money and time into that product. It don't matter if I invested into a studio for myself or not. If I was going to the studio and I was paying 4 hours and it cost me $100 an hour, I'd probably figure out how to sell what was coming out of that. But a lot of the time, because we in our bedrooms, we're like, oh no, it's just for the passion, like starving artists, that's our reputation. It's like, nah, man.
I made a MacBook right now. I made a Tesla.
Straight up.
I'm trying to...
Straight up, like, you got to take that shit seriously and be like, yo, this is something of value and people should pay for this. Like, it can't be going on for free the way that it is right now. It cannot. Even if it's like, you know, you work out, you know, we're going to see so many different business models come out of this time. Like, man, like, you got a website and you got you got tiers to it, just like Netflix got tiers or whatever the fuck. There's going to be people who pay dollars for tracks, and there's going to be people who pay people monthly, $5 a month, whatever. Like, as soon as like, bro, this is the time we could do that. Like, this is the
Facts.
fucking,
There's no rules. It's the wild, wild west.
for real.
And obviously, like everyone brings up Nipsey, but he was selling his CDs for 100, and then he sold the next one for 1,000. But people were like, "What are you doing? What is you doing?"
There's two sides of it.
And now that he's passed away, everyone remembers it as, "Yo, I was supporting him for it." No, anytime you break away from the pack and do something crazy, people are like, "You're an idiot."
Yep.
So, like, I think you and me, I challenge both of us to like break away from the pack.
That's what I'm trying to do, man. It might, you know what I mean? Like, it might cost viewership at times, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, the way I'm structuring myself, and I think it's important for us to put it out there. A lot of the time, just out of pride, like, I'd be like, man, I want to be the first person to do this, but I'm going to come off that, man, because two people need to know: whoever's listening to this and wants to do what I'm doing, and whoever's listening to this and wants to support what I'm doing. The way that I see it is this, man. I make so much music that I can give out samples. You know what I mean? Like, I can put what I'm putting on Spotify, and then I can say, like, yo, the premium version is on my website. You can listen to my EP, 4 tracks long, whatever, but I got my album here on my website. And this is, you know what I mean, like 15 tracks long, whatever the case might be, and you own it. And there is going to be a point in time where I'm going to let my fans know exactly. My projects are not staying on streaming services. Once I'm gone, you better hope you got the files.
You gotta find them like Dragon Balls.
Period. Because once I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm not staying on these streaming platforms so they could just run it up on me. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be on my kids' if they want to do that. Yeah. But it's like, for me, I'm like, yo, like, I'm telling everyone, I'm telling my fans, my family, my friends, like, yo, like, when I get to a certain point, I'm not gonna be here on streaming services like it's, you know, Las Vegas and I got a residency. Nah, like, you gonna have to make sure that you invested in this for the future. And what's that gonna do? That's gonna rise the value of, if you got them files, if you got them physicals that I launched, it's gonna raise the value like art.
Hey, and at the end of the day, as an expressionist, we make art.
We make art, bro.
We make art, and that's how we're taking the podcast. That's how we're taking our music. That's how we're taking all the presentation. It's art, and it's only that it's communicated to people via an Instagram story or a TikTok or a YouTube video. No, but at the end of the day, everything, even when I'm cooking, it's art, bro. It's
straight up.
This is twisting in the laboratory. It's been brewing for years, and just because it comes across as purple is actually fuchsia. And like, it took me a long time to notice the difference. And I guess it's on us to show our audience the difference, to actually prove the value, and then we can get what we deserve. But yo,
straight up, hey, we talk about a lot. Let's just bullet point. That should be how we end everything.
Bullet point.
Bullet point. All right. Posture your audience. Condition consumers to know how to support artists.
Hey, break away from the pack. Once you see that line forming, that traffic line forming, exit. Go the other route. Go the narrow path and see where it takes you and what it turns you into.
Yes. Use the platforms that you have available to you, but study how you can make your own.
And how many more points? Because I think an obvious one is build with the people next to you.
Okay, build with the people next to you.
Like, just like what we're doing right now.
Straight up. Straight up. I think that's a good amount, man. And I hope music goes back up for sale, man. I hope music is accessible to people always, you know what I mean, for rental, but for purchase, especially long term. Like, I hope that people see the value of purchasing music again, so that artists, no matter what level, if you make a product, you can live off of it. Like, that's really like my dream for musicians. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't have to figure out how we gonna get paid. If you do a product, Your motivation should be getting your product done so that people will want it. And when they want it, they can purchase it.
Hey, what's the name of this podcast?
No Budget, a no budget podcast.
And this is episode 1. Hey, we'll love for y'all to give us y'all's input, y'all's thoughts, takes on what we've said today. But most importantly, hey, stay tuned for episode 2.
Let's get it.